later, but for now, maybe we can welcome the consultant. A survey. Oh, Mr. Peterson has come. Okay. So we'll first have the presentation on the tracking tool. We will try our best to ensure, because its time is far much gone, it's actually going to 12. We quickly do the presentation, and then we go to the presentation, and then we will be able to progress. So we want to start with the first presentation, which is on the tracking tool that was developed by Keproba to be able to track the challenges that you are dealing with. So with that, I can give the floor to Mr. Peterson Nyachwaya. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Oh, it's still morning. It's about a few minutes to afternoon. Now, as the CEO mentioned earlier, as you trade, there are chances that you likely to encounter a number of challenges, both from here and even the destination markets. Within the African context, we already have a framework of capturing and sorting challenges. But beyond Africa, we don't have anything. And so that's why Kepropa identified this gap and developed a tool that we are presenting to you for comments, for enrichment, to be able to be accepted and adopted by the other stakeholders. And that's why we are presenting this tool as a draft form to inform, and you also identify the rationale. Why did we come up with this, and what will be the anticipated outcomes? So this will be the outline of the presentation. So next. Now, no, young man. Here, this is how we have traded since the country gained independence. When you look at how we have performed, the bar in blue is for our exports. The one in red is for the imports, and the one below, the gray one, is for the balance of trade. As you trade, as you export to whichever country, you could either be matching or we'll be importing more from them. So if we import more from them, there'll be a trade imbalance. If we export more to them, there's a surplus for us. So this is how we have progressed since 1963 to 2025. As you can see, as at 2025, our trade imbalance is still, we are importing more than what we are exporting. And so, and the reason why this is happening is because of a number of challenges that we could be facing, a number of roadblocks or hurdles that we have to go through before we break into any of the target markets. And so that's why, and partly also because of our own challenges locally in some of our sectors, that we have not developed sufficient products to be able to export. And that's why when we were presenting on the Kepropa functions, the product development function is meant to help us diversify the export basket. If one was to ask you, what are the export products that we currently sell to the rest of the world, you can hardly count 15. You say coffee, tea, horticulture, textile, what else? About 10, isn't it? We want to diversify that product portfolio, what we offer to the rest of the world, so that we can narrow the what we are currently exporting. We export more, not only to the international market, but even the regional markets, the African continent. Let's see how we performed in 2025, 2024. The 2024, we exported goods valued at 1.12 trillion, billion Kenya shillings. In 2025, there is a slight increase. But look at the imports, that what we are importing from the rest of the world. We are not saying that the imports are bad, because some of the imports, we use them to make goods here. We import machinery, we import technology, we import skills. when the CEO for pharmaceutical, the persons and the persons board spoke here, he mentioned that there are some apparatus that we import to help us dispense the medicines that we use. If we are not making them, then we have to import to be able to dispense the medicines to ourselves, isn't it? So some of the imports are good. If I look at the way you are dressed, it could be maybe 2 or 3 adorned in products, clothes that are made here. Most of you are adorned in that we received, I mean, we brought in versus the exports made us have a trade imbalance of 1.5 billion, 6 billion Kenya shillings. And where the two, if you look at how we are trading, the leading export destinations, you can about the AGUA program. And we are currently negotiating a sustainable trade policy with the US. Before it is finalized, we are likely to change to experience those uncertainties and challenges. The AGOA provision is coming to an end at the end of this year. So what becomes of the investments, the people that work in those EBZD, your brothers and sisters, my brothers and sisters, if it's not renewed for another year or a sustainable to even attract more finances, then our export to the US is likely to go down further than what it did in 2025. And the same goes to the other markets. The war in the Middle East, in the Iran and the US, which led the closure of the Strait of Hormuz, we've been exporting a lot of our tea to Iran and the neighboring countries. Chances are the next financial year, the next year, 2025, 2026, we'll see a dip in tea exports and a few other exports that we currently share to those parts of the world because of that challenge. The next one is on the product, at product level. How are we doing? You can see number 11 is pharmaceutical products from my brother's sector. That is in terms of importance and the value, but there are some products that declined. It could be challenges within the subsector. It could be policies that have been instituted elsewhere that have not enabled us to export more. And so we are saying this tool is meant to help us identify some of the challenges in the destination markets which Kenyans face. As I said earlier, we don't have a framework. Whereas we have the Kenya Bureau of Standards has a section called the Technical Barriers to Trade, which captures policies countries have embossed. But the challenges that may most of our exporters may encounter as they trade some of your products to some of the markets. And for us, especially the meat and meat-related poultry, they tell us, for you to bring any of those products, even for exhibition, you need to talk right to our veterinary directorate to approve before you bring them. So if they don't approve, you don't even carry them for exhibition. So if you're not carrying them for exhibition, what about trade? Because for exhibition, you are allowed in most countries to go and exhibit and come back with them. They are not being consumed. But for you to sell, then it means that that entity needs to approve in their country. And for you to sell that product, they need to test if they have to do that and issue you with certificates to enable your consignments to move from Nairobi or whichever destination, whichever county here to any of those destinations. Your consignment must have that paper. If it doesn't have, then it means that consignment will get stuck at the port of entry and you'll be requested to come back with it. And so the tracking tool, as I mentioned earlier, is that we currently don't have a framework for capturing the challenges, sorting them, and channeling them. It could be a challenge in terms that relates to KRA. It could be a challenge for KFIS. It could be a challenge for the veterinary directorate. But we don't have a framework, especially outside the AFCFTA, the Americas, Asia, Middle East. We don't have a framework. If you are trading with any of those countries, it's you and the country and where we have exported to. So this framework is meant to cure that void. That if you are exporting to Iran, for instance, assume that the war didn't exist. If you are exporting to that country, if you encounter any challenges there, how will the government even know? So this is meant to provide a platform for you to launch your complaint or the issue, which will be packed with evidence, because we said we are not going to deal with word of mouth. Of course, you have to report, but that report must be accompanied with a document, either from the other side rejecting and giving reasons, which we will now, as we now start sorting your issue, we need to start from you. What is it that you exported? Did it meet the country's requirements in the first place? If it didn't meet, then the problem could be yours. Goes at country level. Every country where we export to, they have requirements for you to meet before your product enters that country. Some required to be tested at laboratories for various reasons, and the results of which will clear your product to that market. And so the other one is the trade balance that you saw, which was not very favorable for us. Once we address some of those challenges, we expect that most of those markets will open up for that product and additional ones. Then the other one is the low export volumes and values that you attributed to a number of challenges. Then among them, these that I've documented, as you can see. Restrictions, market competition. In some markets, some sectors, they have platforms that regulate before a product comes in, that sector needs to give a nod. And so you need to break that barrier for you to enter in that market. Maybe it's some fee, like our tea to South Africa. It's charged us a certain rand, which you'll be negotiating. We are likely to get through, given that our president visited. But how many times will our president visit for all the products that all of you are making? Today is tea, tomorrow is pharmaceutical, the other one will be coffee, cut flowers. So does he have to make trips for each one of you? We need to have a platform where we can address that. So the objectives of the tool include that we want to provide a platform for reporting, sorting challenges that identified, and then we need to see progression If we have identified that challenge, we know who is supposed to address it. We have channeled that challenge to that institution. How far are they? You must be seeing progress. It's not only reporting. You must see progress that your concern has been raised, has been heard, and action is being taken. All the issue has been now addressed. All the issue has now progressed to a policy level to change some framework to enable your product to move smoothly. The other one is since this is the challenges will involve a number of stakeholders, we want to now to work together with all those other stakeholders. It could be KRA, it could be KPA, it could be veterinary, it could be KWS, a number of them that certify your products. So together to have them to first to hold them accountable that once we submit an issue to you, please address it in the quickest manner possible. Once we've submitted to you, you'll do the due diligence investigations and then add if there was any challenges, whether the challenge was in country or on the other side. If it's in country, then we tell the farm that is exporting where they missed, what they didn't include, what they didn't do to enable their product to go through. The other one is one of the objectives, this second one is to open more markets for your products. Because once those challenges are addressed, then the more markets will be free for you, your product, and those that will come. And also to provide a platform to inform the policy negotiation platforms or forums that we normally have, either bilateral or at regional level. Next. Now, in a number of jurisdictions, we have platforms like this that captures challenges in either their region or with other countries. So that's where we are saying in Kenya, we need to have a framework like that so that it can help us trade smoothly with our partners. Next, we have two slides on them. Now, the current one the one I mentioned about tradebarriers.org, the one for Africa is the second last. If we can open a page, you see. Now, if you open that platform, you'll see the kind of challenge. This is the one that the African continent has adopted. We want to have a similar platform for capturing those issues. It could be tariff measures, could be non-tariff issues. Whatever challenge you face, it could be a policy one. This is what is currently there for ESC, COMESA, tripartite, and Africa. But outside Africa, we don't have that. So if you click tradebarriers.org, I want to encourage that you go, when you go back, go through it and see what it has. Here, it's for you to report. If there's something for you to report, there it is. That's the platform. Register your complaint, and there is a system, a framework on capturing that all the way to the end. So going back to the presentation. Full. Yeah, this is where we were. So the next one. Now, what will be the outcomes of this tool is that once we have addressed the challenges that you have reported to us, we expect the exports to increase if there was an issue between us and Uganda or Tanzania, and we've addressed it, then we expect you to export more to that country. And the same happens to those other countries where this tool is meant to serve. We also expect that you'll cooperate with us to enhance transparency in the way you do things. A number of you, the business community here represented, some of you are not very transparent in the way you do your things. When somebody asks you to export to them this consignment, if you don't have sufficient quantities, you look for neighbors who will be doing the same thing. But you are not sure whether the product that they are making, they are following the same procedures that you are doing. So when they are put on a scale on the verification, your product, your consignment is found to be one thing. So we are saying, can you be consistent? Have capacity. Some of us are doing a solo business enterprise. We want you to formalize and have structures in there so that you have an accountant, you have somebody in charge of quality, you have a marketing person, so that tomorrow, if, for instance, you are not well, the company does not get stuck. The company can progress with those that you've already put in charge, the various departments. And we are saying, not just go back, we're also saying one of the outcomes is the reduction of NTPs and related challenges. Once people know that there is a framework that will reach the government's attention, then they'll think twice before instituting. Then we'll also expect that the policies that affect your sector and that our trading partners will be streamlined in a manner that it will enable in a manner that to the rest of the world. Next is the key success factors. What will make this tool to be successful? The first one is we'll expect once there's a sufficient uptake that this will not be a one man or one person show. That if you have a sector and you have an association, we expect your members to be reporting to the association, and you have somebody who will be capturing all that. Then even if it is a ministry, it will get an officer who will be receiving those submissions, sorting them out, and then channeling them. There are those that require immediate address by our partner institutions. Those can go there, and then we start keeping tracking the progress of implementation of addressing the challenges that have been communicated. Then we also, the other item that will enable this tool to be successful is how many of you will be aware that such a platform exists. So once you've known that this tool is coming into, will be operationalized maybe in the next 1 year or so, please be the messenger carrier to your peers, to your industry. Tell them there's something that has come up through Kepropa, through the State Department for Trade. And so as and when you encounter challenges in those jurisdictions where the tool will be addressing, it's possible for you, for your issues to be addressed so that you don't suffer in silence. Secondly, that we also expect a good number of enterprises who are exporting beyond Africa to take this initiative to support you to address those challenges because they are bound to happen. I'm not saying that they'll happen from time to time, but as and when they happen, you have a recourse. And lastly, that there should be a continuous update on the issues captured, steps taken, and even those that have been successfully addressed. The other platform that I showed you has also has a chart where you are able to see those that have been successfully addressed, those that are still outstanding, those that have just been reported. So we want to go in that direction. Then are there any risks that we foresee? Yes, chances are some of the issues that you may have reported to us, they'll take a long while to be addressed. And why so? There are some issues that you may identify, but they require policy change. Policy change does not happen overnight. It is a consultative process, and it takes a while before the policy is adopted. And a new policy that comes in this country to serve you has to come back to you guys and for public participation, for sensitization, for approval, so that you can see why we are bringing this policy. And you say, yes, we can see the objects of this policy are right. And so we say, it's okay, let's move. So that may take a while. And for you who has a challenge, you may think that we are taking forever to address your concern. Then the other risk is that we foresee the slow uptake of this policy. One, because you're not sure whether your issues will be addressed. Two, you are maybe the way it operates, you are not yet familiar with it. So we urge you to embrace this because it's meant to help you. And so once you get to know that there is something coming up like this, engage with us. Our website, as I told you earlier, makeitKenya.go.ke, has a number of services, including this tool. We want to post it on our website. So for us, we are saying that we've identified a challenge that needs to be addressed, and that issue will be affecting you. It's good that we have brought it to your attention. So partner with us so that we make the road to the international market much easier for you and those members that are in your sector. And we want to say that this tool is not meant to help GAPROPA. It's meant to help you because we are an interface between you and the government. And so once we see an issue that's likely to affect the way you do your business, then it is upon us to bring it to your attention and tell you, this is the journey that you are likely to make tomorrow. For instance, you are going to export to Europe or any other country. This tool will help you in case you encounter challenges. And I want to say some of the challenges also are in country. You meeting the requirements of the market that you want to export to. Don't hurry as you see the opportunity, but prepare adequately. Ensure that you observe step by step of the requirements that have been put in place to ensure that once your product reaches the destination, it goes in smoothly to the person that you are selling to. Because there are times, if it doesn't meet, you are forced to bring it back at your cost, or destroy it at that destination still at your cost, which is all a loss on your part. And so the key stakeholders and partners that we foresee that will help us to move this journey forward are all the trade regulatory agencies, the certifying institutions, state departments, those where your product goes through, as listed over there. And then we also foresee a strong collaboration with the trade support institutions, the Kenya National Chamber of Commerce, the Kenya Association of Manufacturers, KEPSA, FPIC, MSEA, and others. So you are not left out. So for those of you who don't belong to any business association, we advocate that you find it appropriate to belong to a certain working group so that your interests are captured and shared to government or any other institutions for redress. The other party that we consider very useful is the private sector, our embassies and high commissions. Wherever you'll be trading, maybe we have an embassy there. That will be the point, your first point of call once you get an issue. So if the issue has not reached us, the embassy will also report it on this platform so that we can easily address it. So some embassies have commercial charges, some don't have. So as you start engaging your buyers, please, in those markets where you want to export to, identify yourself to the embassy so that as and when you run into issues, challenges that we want to address here, we can collectively work together and make it possible for you to continue exporting. And for us to operationalize this tool, we are saying that we need to sensitize, create awareness among you and the other partners. We also need to train and enhance capacity of these institutions. And then we also raise funds to develop sufficient infrastructure and tools to enable us to capture, sort, analyze. The consultations will continue, capacity building. The other platform that I showed you has a dedicated website. We foresee that this also will lead in that direction, a dedicated website. And it doesn't require, it requires resources to have a functioning and dedicated website to enable us to move from step one to the end. And so this is what I had for you. So at this point in time, we have a form which is similar to the one the other portal is using that we would like you to see how it's configured so that when you encounter challenges, you can easily report. Duplicate. Okay. You can report so that your issues can be addressed. And so we are saying that for you to report, you must report from an enterprise point of view. It will not be an individual reporting, or it could be an individual, but you have an enterprise that you are operating as an enterprise, not as Peterson. It could be Kepropa. Kepropa is an association, as an organization. You can also register as an individual entity who is exporting. So here you are. On this form, the first point of call is for you to identify yourself in terms of the enterprise, and then provide details of the issue or the challenge that you may have encountered. So relating to any of those areas. Then the date of occurrence, when did it happen? Where did it happen? The location, a specific location, whether it's an airport, border post, wherever, or any other. Then the description of the barrier or the challenge. What is the specific challenge that you encountered? And what products were you exporting? And what is the value, product value? And then you need to upload a document to ascertain or to show us, because whoever is denying entry must either write on your documentation what the issue is. So we want you to now upload that section, that document that has been commented on, so that we are able to follow. And that will be, and then you submit. Once you upload that document supporting your challenge, your issue, then you submit it. And then from there now, once you submit, that will come now to the portal, to the tool, tracking tool. Then we pick it up from there and progress it. So collectively, we work together to ensure that this comes to fruition, and we support your journey into the international market. So that's my presentation. And so I now open the floor to you for any comments and improvements so that we can make this tool actionable and to serve you. So the floor is open to you to make any comments. Who would like to make a comment or proposal on the submissions before you? Anyone? Silence means we are good. So then thank you for your attention. I now take this opportunity to invite the consultant to come and make the presentation on the market survey reports on the findings and opportunities for you to identify and progress. So Dr. Jacinta Mikali is our consultant. She's making her way to the front. And I invite her to make the presentation. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. My name is Dr. Jacinta Mutie. I'm a consultant with Keproba, and I'm here to share with you the findings for this market survey, which we conducted in Japan. Sorry. I'm going to start by asking us to stand up, please. It's part of the presentation. Are we all on our feet? Are we all on our feet? Please raise your right hand, then left hand, then both hands. We good? So while in that posture, I have a question. If you know the answer, you raise your hand. Okay? Why did the chicken cross the road? No, with your hands up. If you know the answer, please raise your hand. But the hand should remain up. Yeah, it's the whole point. So why did the chicken cross the road? If you know the answer, you raise your hand. Okay, if you don't know the answer, lower your hands. If you don't know the answer, lower your hands. Oh my goodness. What happened? Okay, now we can sit. Are we good? Are we okay? How is the session so far? How is it? Has any of us learned something new? Have you made a new contact? You know, at the time of introduction, we were not very generous with our information. So we are here to network. So why are you living here and you have a consignment of avocados that need to be exported or a few things that need to be sorted, and you do not even know the name of the person seated right next to you, because that is the person who has this 40-feet container that has a few tons ndio itoshe for shipment. Yet you are seated next to them, and do you even know his name? Have you ever seen him? Are you an exporter? Almost. Okay. Are we good? Yes. So now, just to reintroduce myself, I'm a researcher by profession. Okay. I teach at the university. I'm a university lecturer. And at the same time, I'm also a Sunday school teacher. So I can handle all manner of people. Sindio? Tuko sawa? I'm also a mentor. I'm also a supervisor. I'm also the CEO of my life, among others. When we introduce ourselves, we should be introducing ourselves by using our selling points. Okay? Exporters, mkono juu. Anyone exporting? Anyone who is here because they want to learn about exporting products? So we are together. Okay, now back to my question. Why did the chicken cross the road? Yes. Okay. What? Why did the chicken cross the road? To do what? To lay eggs. To find food. Safety. What else? What else? We don't know. Huh? Maybe there was a KFC behind it. I'm a chicken in behind it. So it was running for dear life. Isn't it? So why are we here? We are here because we are the chicken crossing the road to the other side. We want to get information or to even learn why our products are not getting to Japan among other countries. Sindio? All right. Thank you. So I'm from Ring Africa Consultants. We conducted this study with a lot of support from Keproba, among others. So a warm welcome to this presentation. So our purpose is to tell you about the market that is out there, the investment opportunities that are out there, the challenges that are out there. Okay, the challenges come with opportunities. So it's up to us to figure out, so are you going to see it as a problem or as a solution, as a potential solution to your problems? Then you are our key stakeholders, so it is important that you're here today. We appreciate you honoring our invite. And then we also want to explore opportunities to discover insights on our strategic opportunities and recommendations. So when we make the recommendations, that's going to Keproba and other government regulators to help us with their policy recommendations. Tuko pamoja? We together? We're together? Yes, thank you. So we want to understand, this is what we're calling now the market intelligence, which was the whole idea of conducting this study. We know that Japan requires our products, but then where are we going? We want to know, we want to light a torch into this dark room so that we can see what lies ahead, isn't it? Would you want to walk into a dark room blindly? No, you want to understand, we want to see what lies ahead. So for us, we wanted to understand Japan's landscape, where we have in-depth analysis of economic and market dynamics. We're going to see they have a very closed, what you call it, here we call it a chama, close-knit society, okay? A group of entrepreneurs, wholesalers, retailers who have a close-knit society that once you meet the expectations, you'll be able to penetrate the market and your product will be trustworthy and you can always export, trade with them. But once that trust is broken, there's no going back. So these are the things that we want to understand. So as I said, we want to understand the key opportunities that lay out there for Kenyan products and also formulate entry strategies. Some of the issues that make us delay our products or a lot of things go wrong, it is because we do not understand the entry strategies into the Japanese market. And then the last one is to increase our exports, because we have wastage when we do not understand how the process goes. So you start by planting avocados, or even where I grew up. Where do I come from? Where do I come from? Somewhere in Kenya, where we export, we produce at least 20% of mangoes in the country. We contribute to 20% of Kenya's GDP with mangoes. Nimetoka wapi? Geniuses. Hey, you guys are good. Huh? So we want to understand a few things here. To avoid what now we are calling, when it's harvest season, we flood the market. When it's off season, we do not have anything to export. Yet a lot of wastage happens during harvest because it all happens at once and everybody has mangoes and you have nowhere to take them. So that's one of the challenges that we want to explore. How do we handle this? So Kenya and Japan have had a cordial working relationship for a number of years since independence. And this trade partner that we are trying to entice or tunajaribu kukua in good terms with, Japan has the third or even the fourth largest economy in the world. Okay. Ours is a number something from the bottom. But then we want to deal with the big guys. We want to play the big league. World Cup, FIFA, such kind of things. The big games, that's where we want to go. So our economy is not even comparable with Japan's. Okay. But then their population has a lot of gaps that we can fill in using our products and services. So for the longest time, trade remains imbalanced, where Kenya exports mainly agricultural goods, the rest of the statement. Now, let's look at the figures. These numbers up here. Can you see these numbers? 82, let's say $83 million is what we export to Japan. Okay? Worth of products is what we export to Japan. But look at what we import, how much we import. The value of what we import from Japan is $1 billion. How much? Is there a problem there? Where is it? See, we have $83 million. What's a problem? It's what? A trade imbalance, and a big one for that matter. Okay? So one of the reasons or the main objectives why we carried out this study is to understand why we have such a huge trade imbalance and what we can do to improve, okay, or even to narrow that gap between our imports and exports. Then we have over 120 Japanese companies operating in Kenya today. Nani mwingine alikuwa anajua hiyo before this presentation? Did you know that? Now, can you connect the 120 plus companies with us? Okay. Importing goods worth $1 billion and exporting only 83 million. You see, their presence in our Kenyan market is one of the things that is pushing the demand for their products and services. Tuko pamoja? Yes. So Japanese presence in Kenya is very, very high. So we will see our presence on the other side. Just a brief introduction of what it looks like on the other side, the market in Japan. So Japan is an island nation with at least almost 7,000 islands, and its population is 126 million people, individuals, 126 million. How many Kenyans are there today? How many? The last census, tulikuwa wangapi? Around 50 million. Tuko how many times the population of Japan? How many times? How many times? 5. 3. 50 million. Divide by 126 million. Tuko how many times? Huh? Twice. 2.5 times the population of Japan. Okay. Hold on to that point. The next one is let's skip the rest and know that Japan has a stable business environment where regulations are followed to the letter, where trust matters, where sustainability matters, where compliance is the key. So the high value opportunity for us is that one of the things that the Japanese, and mark you, this is not me saying, this is what the Japanese told us. We went there to conduct this study. So this is what they told us, what they want, what they value, what they expect. Okay? So don't say ati Kiproba walisema, watu wa Kiproba walisema. The Japanese themselves and our Kenyans living there and working there and operating businesses there, this is what they said. That one of the things that they value is premium quality and sustainability, where you're not going to export tea or coffee. Very good, it's met all the specifications. Then you disappear. Okay, then you disappear. So consistency is very, very important. And when you talk about premium quality, they do not negotiate on the standards. In fact, they're willing to pay more to get that product that is from Kenya, made in Kenya. So you see in a presentation about branding. Okay. So Japan is also very advanced in technology, especially in manufacturing. And we say that they have a stable and efficient business environment where there are world-class protection and even infrastructure for their products and services. So in this study, as I said, we interviewed almost 1,500 business people, both Kenyans and Japanese, but preferably the Japanese. So then you're going to see why. So we went across Tokyo, Osaka, Yokohama, Nagoya, among others. And the reason why we spoke to those specific cities, because they are the hubs. Ndio CBD ya Japan. Okay, so tunajua central business district where everything happens. So we targeted those cities for a very specific reason, because we want to understand the people's preferences, their purchasing behavior, and perceptions towards our products. And then we also had key informant interviews with 44 Japanese and 46 Kenyan government agencies, importers, distributors, retailers, logistic firms, trade associations, investors, and industry experts. Simona were very represented. Okay, the representation was very high. So anyone who matters in helping us understand the challenges that we have and help us turn those challenges into opportunities was included in the survey. Then we also conducted literature review to see what else exists out there, what other studies have shown us about the trade relations, Kenya trade relations with Japan. And then we also had market observations, looking at wholesale markets, the convenience stores and supermarkets. So the key categories for the survey, we looked at the blue economy products, coffee, dairy, essential oils, fruit, vegetables, leather and leather products, all the way. Then there is tea and textiles. So we looked at a wide scope of products in that market. So why are we focusing on the market environment and structure, so that we can understand the regulatory frameworks that affect trade. You can't just decide that tomorrow, because I have mangoes and it's harvest season, and I hear that the Japanese like mangoes, then I can take them there. You can't do the same even with tea. There are regulatory frameworks that need to be looked into. Then we also wanted to look at market opportunities and potential products, where we have categories, very specific categories for Kenyan products. You can find that you walk into a supermarket and what you see is maybe peanuts, very nicely branded. That's a product of Kenya. Then we also have, not that they've already understood our market, the kind of produce that we have. The moment they understood that, for example, nuts or even coffee, tea, they said every other tea that we prefer is from Kenya, because we know that it is a trusted brand. And then the consumer behavior, we are going to look at their purchasing habits, their perception towards international products. So once they know that, for example, this bottle of water is only 10 shillings, but they know the quality of this water that is coming from Kenya. Instead of buying it at 10 shillings, they can even buy at 120. So for them, price doesn't matter so much, like the quality of the product that they are getting. That's why we've seen that the regulatory framework is very, very strict. They do not negotiate on standards. If it's of low quality, it's of low quality, you don't negotiate. But if it is of high quality, they are willing to buy even double the price, because for them, quality is everything. And then the competitive landscape and trade barriers, we want to see that there are other, we are not the only ones who are producing coffee and tea and macadamia and all these others. Okay, there are other countries. So what can we do to put ourselves first to beat our competitors? Then strategies for visibility and competitiveness. So branding is very, very important. Besides the people seated here in front who can read this, what does KEPROBA stand for? What does it mean, KEPROBA? What does it mean? What does it stand for? And what? I want you to read for me the last two. Branding? Exactly. And my point was that visibility is everything. You need to be branded. What did you do about branding from the previous presentations? Branding. What does it do? Huh? What does it do? Branding. Visibility. People can be able to see this product is from Kenya. So KEPROBA is very important in those big decisions that you want to make about exporting goods and services. So at this point, we want to look at the demographics and labor trends in Japan. What did we say is the population of Japan? How many are there? 126 million of them. Sindio? Na sisi tuko wangapi? Around 50 million, sindio? So the challenge with Japan is that we have an aging population where almost 30% of them are over the age of 65. So what happens at the age of 65? We retire, sindio? So 30% of the Japanese population is retiring or are expected to retire. What is 30% of 126 million? See, squeezy, we are digital. Where are our phones? Our phones. Let's say even 50 million of them, like, or half of them. How many? 38 million. So if we have that kind of population that is already retiring or is already retired, what happens to education? Who is going to teach their children? Not forgetting that we have issues of low birth rate. Okay? There's something we call the population pyramid. Population pyramid shows that the elderly are the least. Pyramid inaka hivi. Okay? So our Kenyan pyramid is like this, which is the normal. But for Japan, it's upside down. A majority of the population is either retired or retiring. At least 30% of them are retired. So they are old. They need people to educate their children. They need people to clean their streets. They need people to teach them English. They need people to do a lot of work for them because the majority have retired. They are old. So is that a problem for us or an opportunity? It's an opportunity, isn't it? So they need English teachers, okay? And we all, even this room, we can all speak in English. Isn't that an opportunity? Isn't it? Yeah, don't think of you planting something for you to export and stuff like that. You can also be an English teacher, but then you're going to see that language is also a barrier. that we need to understand their language to be able to teach them our language, isn't it? So they need people in healthcare, caregiving, construction, and all this time. But then on the other side, our population, 50 million. Sindio, let's work with 50 million. How many Gen Zs are there in Kenya? Gen Z ni wangapi? 30% of the population. 75% of the population. So 75% of 50 million. Anu watu wangapi? How many millions? So basically what you're saying, we have the labor. We have the opportunity to fill in the gap that is in Japan. Okay? We have the opportunity to fill in that gap because they do not have people to do the manual work. So the opportunity is that there's a growing demand, and even for specialized roles that we need to be trained in. And one of them is that we need to understand the Japanese language. Because you cannot speak or even teach someone a language that you do not even understand what they're saying. So there has to be a common medium of communication. And then you also need to understand their culture. There are people who are very trustworthy, okay, and very loyal. So if they trust you, the moment that they get to understand you and then they trust you, then they can do business with you. Then we also need to understand about certifications and training preparation. So it is very important. Just can't walk into their market and you've not built rapport. You do not understand exactly what happens in their culture. There are places where children cannot look at their parents or even, their elders directly in their faces, isn't it? Where you have to stretch one arm and or even bow for you to show respect. So if you go there, if you were trading with them or you want to be to engage in any of these services, then you need to understand their culture. Okay. So what drives their purchasing decisions? First of all, we said is quality and safety. So the consumers prioritize quality, safety, and freshness. Okay. And aesthetic packaging, that like packaging and mzuri, not things that just look haphazard. They have to be very appealing. And then also convenience, that sometimes they need small sizes. For example, this example that I gave somewhere, that someone who is already 70 or 80 years old cannot peel a pineapple. So peeling a pineapple is a hard job, isn't it? So for us is to understand that the population that we are serving pineapples or even mangoes, is they're not in a position to even hold a knife. So for you to take advantage of that and make sure that your pineapples are peeled and they're packaged very nicely, isn't it? Even nuts, ground nuts, is in njugu. Someone with Alzheimer's disease, they cannot. Okay, mobility issues, they cannot. Others cannot even see. But they understand that these are Kenyan nuts and they are the best in the world, okay? Because they are grown in the best conditions and they are the best quality among others. So they are willing to buy. So we've seen, for them, they said, basic kitu, sindio, pesa kwa si kitu, what they want is the quality of that product. So that we said, yeah, they are willing to pay for that premium product. Then ethical sourcing, health, sustainability, responsible production, among other factors. So if you are engaged in a trade that does not respect human rights, where people are not paid, staff are not paid, or they die of, what do I say, very harsh working conditions and stuff like that. So if that information ever gets to them, that even women are not respected, gender issues, or there are children working in your farms to make this work, they are not going to engage with your product. Watafanya nini? Return to sender at your cost. Okay? At your cost. Then we've already talked about premium willingness. Then they're willing to pay more for that product. Okay? So what are their habits and their preferences for Kenyan products? Very specific to Kenyan products. So they say that in tea, there is a low awareness, so they do not understand much of our tea. We can see that 60% consume tea daily, and also several times a week. So they do not, when we're talking about low awareness, it is because there is Kenyan tea in the Japanese market. But it is not branded for them to know that this is a product from Kenya. Okay? That's one of the main reasons why Keproba is hosting this session. Makofi kwa Keproba. Na makofi kwangu juu ya kuwapatia information. Okay? The next, so we are saying that for them, taking tea daily is like 60. Okay, what is 60% of 126 million? Huh? What is 60% of 126 million? Wangapi? Ngapi? You all have smartphones, yeah, people. Hata katululuka kona calculator. 76 million. 76 million people consume tea every day in Japan. Not just one cup of tea, several times in a day. Isn't that a market for us? Isn't it? Yes. So the population that takes tea in Japan on a daily basis is more than the population of Kenya. Sisi wote pamoja hata wenye wakunywangi chai. Is that a challenge or an opportunity? Aye. Then coffee, there is moderate awareness. Wanasikianga tu kuna kwaga na coffee from Kenya, but it is not very clear. Once again, why we are here. Branding. Okay? Buy Kenya, build Kenya. Which other slogan do we use for identity? I didn't presented something here. What did she say about branding? Huh? Irene, we already forgot your presentation, so you may need to do this again. They already forgot. We've said it is made in Kenya. Exactly. They consume our tea, our coffee, but they do not know that it's coming from us. So we are also blindsiding ourselves. They stand, but most of the fruits that are consumed in Japan are usually imported. Climatic conditions do not allow them to plant most of the fruits that we even take for granted. Sindio? Yeah? Some of the fruits that we take for granted. So they rely on imports. And for example, they have a very high demand for pineapples at 43%, avocados, mangoes are the most preferred imported fruit. Don't we produce this? Do we? Avocados, pineapples, na mangoes from my tribes people. We do, senior. So we already seeing that there's a ready market for our product. And then the last slide or sentence says 100% of respondents purchase fruits through supermarkets. One of the questions raised was, how do I find these consumers? Where are they getting their products? Where are they getting their products? Exactly. Vegetables, they also have preference for premium vegetables, despite also another low awareness. Labda tunawapelekea terere na hata hawajui, it's not branded that it is from Kenya, yet they like it. They consume it a lot. So it's up to us to market ourselves, isn't it? So what is 42% of 126 million? Ajua saa zingine tukisema 42% just a number, but then we need to put it into perspective. So what is 42% of 126 million? Sorry? 53 million. So 53 million Japanese are willing to pay more for Kenyan vegetables. Tujipigia makofi. And while we clap for ourselves, the statement says that 42%, that is 50 million, are willing to pay for Kenyan vegetables. They are willing to pay for Kenyan vegetables. Please repeat that statement. Na tuko hapa na managu, saga, kunde, among others. Yet we have over 50 million consumers waiting for for saga from Kenya. Or maybe they have it, but they think it's from Uganda or TZ, or from Mexico. But it is ours. So we need to also love ourselves by branding our commodities. Nuts, 71% consume them as a healthy snack. 66% are willing to pay more for rare and exotic nuts such as Kenyan macadamia. Wao ndio walisema si mimi. Sindio, Kevin? Yeah, they're the ones who said, do you have anyone in the business of importing exporting macadamia or nuts or any? Nani ako na potential, or who is willing, or who is considering? Oh, good. At least you have someone from the audience. So they are willing to pay. Then fish. So there's remember, this is an island nation. So there's also low awareness of our Kenyan fish. But despite that, 78% of fish purchases, once again, happen through the market, which is the entry channel. Once again. And then we have dairy and dairy products. So there's growing demand for that. Then once again, 80% purchase dairy products through supermarkets. Then we have meat and meat products, the same thing. They have high interest, but zero awareness that some of the products that they see are from Kenya. We also have oils and essential oils. Once again, 96% are willing to pay more than 2,000 yen for a bottle of essential oils. So that ml chupa kadogo sana. And for around 2,000 yen, that's a lot of money. Almost what? Almost 5,000, an equivalent almost 5,000 Kenya shillings to pay for a 30 ml bottle. Then flowers, strong premium opportunity driven by freshness and uniqueness, which is very, very important. And then 55% would likely purchase Kenyan flowers if they are available. If they are available, which means they are not available, or the kidogo that is available, they are willing to pay. And then they also 81% rank freshness and longevity as the most important purchase attribute. Okay, freshness. So figure out how the whole value chain happens so that zisifike huko kama zishakauka. Okay, freshness is key. And then you also have textiles where they like we are known for the Maasai shukas. So anything textiles you ever mentioned to the Japanese, wanajua tu Maasai shukas. Don't we do other things? Tuko na beads. Sindio? Yes. And then that picture that you're seeing over there is not there by chance. It's there by design. So our brand identity is very, very important. So that shows that it's an item. It's natural, it's original, and it is from Africa. How about changing from Africa to Kenya? Isn't it? Yes. Once again, brand visibility. So market access standards that we said, trade and market environment. So we need to make sure that our trade, the trade imbalance that you are seeing, one of the contributing factors is that trade remains heavily skewed in Japan's favor. And our problem is that we lack preferential trade agreements, like under World Trade Organization standards, where countries like Australia, Mexico, Peru, Thailand, and Tanzania benefit from these protocols. Imagine Tanzania benefits from this, and we don't. So for us, that's a policy recommendation to KEPROBA and the government and other regulators to make sure that whatever Tanzania is doing, we can do better to also compete as an East African nation. Then regulatory barriers and compliance. We also have non-tariff barriers. Then you have very strict to near zero tolerance on contaminants. So the first two bullets are interrelated. So aflatoxins, among others. So your products have to go through pre-testing. And one of the previous presenters, we were told that don't start by coming to the market with avocados and say that you have avocados for export. Okay. First of all, take a step back, understand the requirements. So if you plant, for example, your tea is supposed to be planted in a certain kind of environment, certain threshold has to be met, certain type of soil. Okay. All right. Certain types of pesticides can be used, certain types of fertilizers can be used. So if there are any trace elements in your product, then it means that your product does not meet the market requirements and it is rejected. Unfortunately, it may be rejected when it's already on the other side, and return to sender is on your coast. It's on you. Unfortunately, even further, you may be blocked from be barred from ever exporting a product to that country. We said trust is everything. Okay? Trust is everything. Maybe that consignment, maybe a certain percentage, a certain proportion was contaminated. Then they reject the whole consignment. So you are dying for someone else's death. Okay? So you need to be very, very careful. So first of all, understand what the market requires before you come, you show up with the product. So what something else is about the language. You also we need to also to understand the language that they speak so that there's no communication barrier. And then feasibility of standards, by standards, that one we've already talked about. Branding. We've already talked about this branding and promotion, very, very important. So positioning narratives like in Kenya, naturally inspiring, made in Kenya, naturally premium, align well with authenticity, sustainability, and traceability. Okay? We are known for a reputation for long distance running. Si tunasema ama Kenyan and ama Kenyan and marathon runner. So that's what they say. Ama msikizangi ngoma za Gen Zs kama mimi. Not to say that I'm a Gen Z, but to say that I listen to their music. I'm a Kenyan, and you know I'm a marathon runner. See, we are known for that. So why can't we be known for tea and coffee from this region? What else do we export from this region? Or what else do we plant? Do we produce in plenty in this region? What's in Gishu? What? Like? Maize. Huh? Wheat. Maize. What else? Maziwa. Milk and milk products. Okay. So we brand ourselves. Then there are some market opportunities for what you call high potential products like avocados, coffee, macadamia, tea, and fresh cut flowers. Okay. Anytime you're in that business, you'll not go wrong. Okay. So the next one is the medium potential. We have mangoes, French beans, textiles, essential oils, and English teaching services. Okay. And then the last one, the ones that do not have very high potential, but constrained because they're too price sensitive or a lot of outsourcing. They do a lot of outsourcing. But what is important is what? Value addition potential. Okay. Please do not forget that. Then logistics and trade facilitation. So the modes of transport, we have air freight, mostly for flowers and fresh produce due to the speed and quality of preservation. Sawa. And then we have cold chain constraints where temperature fluctuations during handling transit produce quality. That one interferes with the quality. Then distribution channels, we said it's about supermarkets and convenience stores is one called 7-Eleven. So those asking, so nikipeleka nitafika Gikomba ya huko ama ni Marikiti ya huko ama nitafika wapi? Okay? It's the supermarket. And then investments and skills partnerships, as we said, specified skilled workers are highly needed. English teachers, caregivers, okay, construction workers, they're in high demand. Okay. Wajua watu huko wakizeeka, unlike sisi we stay with our great grandmothers and great grandfathers. There, when you're that old, unapelekwa wapi? Kwa nyumba ya wazee. Homes for the elderly, hospices and stuff. And they do not have a Gen Z population or even a young population to take care of their elderly. So that is a gap. And one of the things that we've seen is that now there are opportunities for skilled labor migration. Okay, si kama hii ya Trump tunafikanga huko na tunaambiwa return to sender. This is very specific. So which sector are you fitting into? Do you have training in English? Can you speak in English? Can you speak our language? Okay, very, very specific. So financial systems is that Japan has banks, very specific banks that support their exporters. They give them loans and other credit facilities to facilitate their trade. Do we have a bank in Kenya that supports our biashara? Very specific to export business. Do we have? Which one? ABSA. Very specific. It does not deal with any other kind of customers except exporters. Yeah, we don't. And then we have another one called Nexi that deals with insurance. It provides insurance to exporters specifically. Okay? Insurance specifically. See how advanced they are. But still they need people to help them. So let's see what else we can do. We have flagship opportunities like the Okari Industrial Park, among others. So we have opportunities, but then these opportunities, we need to seize them by understanding what is required on the other side. Tunapenda shortcut na tunachoka haraka. Sindio? Tunachoka haraka. We complain that they're asking for too much, the rules are too many, these regulations are too many, but the moment you put down that attitude of feeling like they're disturbing you, and to get into their market, you'll never go wrong. Okay. So the business culture is that they like long-term relationships. We said you cannot supply a product, then you disappear, then come back another time. They like sustainability. If you know you're going to be exporting tea to Japan, you'd better have the consignments, you'd better have the resources that you need, because once you break that trust, we said you can never go back. And then reliability at the same time, the quality remains the same. If you send them good quality products consistently for some time, then something goes wrong and there's maybe contamination or the cold chain system broke down and your products did not meet the specified standard, then it means that you are not reliable to deliver, okay, on quality and consistency. And then precision, time matters, okay. Then communication, as we talked about, there's also quality assurance. So it demonstrates that if you're willing to go through all these channels, including pre-testing, all those requirements, licenses and permits, to the point that your product gets there, then it means that you are committed to partner with them. So the distribution channels, where we said you can find Kenyan products, or even where you can take your products in large supermarkets. You have convenience stores. Then you also have e-commerce platforms. Sure, at least 95% of us here have a smartphone that is connected to the internet. So take your time, read about them, what is required, okay? Don't rely more on, so and so told me. You can read for yourself and understand. Then you can build a brand online. Okay. So financial trade systems that we said, they even have specific institutions like a bank and insurance to take care of the risks that are involved. And then the implications for us is that Kenyan exporters need stronger correspondent banking links. Okay. You may have the opportunity, you may have the potential, but then if you do not have the financial muscle, then that only remains a dream. Then we also need to invest in financial infrastructure and banking relationships. Okay, very, very, very important. We do not have a bank or an insurance firm specifically for this, but one day we will get there. Cindy, one day. So the competitive landscape, we said about volume in the market. We said you need, if it's products are going by sea, like a 40-foot container. If you can't fill that by yourself, you may need to partner with others, isn't it? Haiwezi enda ikiwa nusu ama quarter, you partner with others. Have we built that kind of relationship or even trust among ourselves that we can accommodate each other? Because an entrepreneur cannot compete with a multinational. Okay, the playing ground is not even. Then our competitors in coffee and tea include Ethiopia, the coffee, Sri Lanka with tea, and then India, both coffee and tea. So we need to figure out how to beat this competition. So our competitive advantage is that we have premium ethically sourced products. We said they like our macadamia, okay? Our tea, a specialty tea. They said they are willing to pay more for Kenyan tea. So that's something that we can capitalize on. And then what do we say? Sustainability credentials, as we said, you can't send a product, then you disappear, then you'll show up some other time. Okay, we can also take advantage of off-season products. Like when we know that, for example, Ethiopia is off-season, they cannot produce enough coffee for export, then we take advantage of that. So our challenges are high compliance costs. So the labeling, the packaging, modifications, those ones are very, very expensive. But it's the rule. So we cannot compromise. Then documentation and regulatory requirements, testing and certification requirements, those ones we cannot negotiate. Okay? It is the law. It's like kujaribu kuongea na mtu about the law today. Okay? Unajua umeiba, lakini unajaribu kujustify, unasema unajua nimeiba, but sasa ndio unajua nimeshikwa, next time sitaiba ama nitajificha zaidi. Okay? It's non-negotiable. If we say your product have to be pre-tested by specific government institutions, okay? If NEMA has to certify you, lazima wakuje ground. There is no way you're going to go to Kirinyaga Road and come with a certificate. Okay? Watakupata, they are very strict with regulations. Watakupata and you'll be bad. So limited SME awareness that enterprises lack knowledge of Japanese standards. We said the standards are top notch. And then cold chain vulnerabilities, just in case there's inadequate infrastructure, then it means you may not venture into that business. So shipping routes, so we have extended transit times that increase costs. It's very expensive. You can maybe use hubs like, which one? I think the likes of Dubai. Then we have network barriers, as we said. The Japanese have, I forgot the name, but they have this chama of the chosen few, where they have suppliers, retailers, distributors, okay, exporters, importers. They trust each other because they know if I need 50 metric tons of coffee, that will be delivered and that coffee will be of the best quality. So once you get into that, their network, you'll always trade with them. But the moment that trust is broken, there's no going back. So for this, I think we've already talked about this, about promotion and also infrastructure, and also creating linkages with the Kenyans and the diaspora. Okay? They are there, the importers, they are traders, they are people who do this business on the other side. So we can also try to build networks with them. So we've talked about the priority export categories. We have coffee and tea, fresh produce and nuts, cut flowers, essential oils, textiles, and blue economy products. So there are things that you can focus on and you won't go wrong. Atubahatishi this time round. Sindio? Atubahatishi. Then you also have environmental and social governance, where we say that we have to have eco-friendly production and sourcing. Okay, if NEMA has to certify you, if you need to use certain pesticides or chemicals or whatever that needs to be done, all these things have been tested and they are environmentally friendly. Then social responsibility, where we have fair labor, safe working conditions, community engagement, and gender equity, where we were saying that maybe you're producing flowers, but then there are children, there are minors working in your farm because they are cheap. Okay? People go up to 72-hour shifts without a break. Okay? Without maternity leave, without all this. If they ever discover that such irregularities happen, they blacklist you, they do not trade with you again. So once again, trust is everything. Then governance and traceability, they have strong demand for strong governance, ethics, and end-to-end traceability. So that product that's already in their supermarket, in the shelves in the supermarket, they can tell that that is a tea that comes from Africa, from East Africa, okay, from Kenya, from Uasin Gishu, from Eldoret, a farm that is 2 kilometers north of the Uasin Gishu County Assembly Hall. That's how thorough they are. They can even tell the taste of coffee by where it is grown and when it was harvested. Hello? Are we together? This is one of those I'm with you moments, or I'm with us moments. Am I with us? Are you with me? Okay? Yes. So once again, trust is everything. So when we look at our strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, we find that we have very favorable agroclimatic conditions. Okay? There are people who only experience sunlight maybe a month or two in a year. Na si Manago inataka jua. Si ndio? A certain type of soil, si uko kwao kwenye kunakaa winter kuko frozen. Okay? So we are blessed to have eco-friendly environment to grow this product. Then our weaknesses, and I want us to look at our weaknesses at a very different angle. That one of them is that limited value addition and processing capacity. Okay? Value addition ni nini? When we say we are adding value to our products, what is it? What do we mean? Hiyo ni homework. Nitarudi. Siwambia I'm a teacher. I'll come back to mark the assignment. Then inadequate cold chain and logistics infrastructure. We also have that problem. So somebody wants to export fruit, but then fruits require the cold chain infrastructure. If it is not there, then that business may not work. Okay? Or there is a system, but then it is not reliable. Then weak branding and market penetration in Japan. Yes, we said you show someone, you tell them like ketepa. Unaona ile majani chai ile kadogo ka ketepa. That's sachet. Unaonyesha mtu one that is branded, made in Kenya. Alafu unaonyesha a similar one that is not from Kenya but is there in the shelves. Then you tell them these two are from Kenya. Then they are wondering, so why am I not aware that this is from Kenya and I can also purchase your product? Okay. And then we have opportunities that are raising demand in Japan for premium, safe and traceable, sustainable products. And we've also said that 30% of that population, almost 50 million of them, are retirees. Okay. They need people to do their work. Okay. Even if they're technologically advanced, they have machines that clean their roads and wash their clothes. Nani atamvalisha hizo nguo? Hello? Are we together? Am I with us? Yes, they do. They have robots that can do a few things here and there. Okay? But ukianguka robot itakuja kukuinua kweli? Na ikupeleke hospitali ama ikuitie daktari? That's why we are needed there. Okay? So our threats, we've said, is competition from other countries, including Tanzania. Okay? It's our competitor. Ethiopia, our competitor. So we need to beat them. Not physically, not on social media, those fights. No, not those ones. We are fighting with them in the export game. So as we conclude, we've already talked about market access and the standards. The standards are non-negotiable. Okay, you know what they require, you provide. Then branding and promotion, Keproba is here for all the branding and promotion needs. And then product development and value addition. Mulipata answer ya swali yangu ya value addition? Mulipata answer? Okay, vitabu zote zikuje, monitor, chukua vitabu lete hapa mbele, I'll be marking. Simesema ni homework. Monitor kwa wapi na prefect? Walete exercise books for marking. Value addition ni nini? Yes. Ebu msikize. Listen.
Thank you. I'm Davis Odhiambo. Value addition is extracting more from a product that originates from it. Like, let's take something like sunflower. Mostly we know sunflower, we can have oil from sunflower. Then apart from oil, we can still produce the chicken feeds out from the remains from that sunflower itself. Thank you.
Thank you. Makofi kwake? Hapana, tunataka makofi ile mzuri. Si class yote ilikataa kunijibu na yeye amejibu. So we need someone to help us appreciate him. Not with hugs and kisses. No, not those ones. Okay, we need someone to help me appreciate him because he's done a good job. Ama, you've not understood what he has said. So once upon a time, I was in campus. I had two Calais friends. Beverly Tanui, and the guy was called Charles somebody. So Beverly used to teach me Calais. So she told me, when you're saying hi to someone, okay, you say what? Achamige. Sawa. But when you're saying hi, you want to greet a man, you say achamin. So every time tukikutana class, he was called Collins. Every time tukikutana class, nikisalimia Collins, he used to be very happy. All smiles na nini. Yeah, she played me, but it is okay because Collins used to go home a very happy man. And he always knew. Oh, sorry. There are those who don't understand the joke. Nani hajaelewa the joke? Ameambiwa na mabeste. Ameambiwa. So we all know what it means. Okay? Yeah, Collins used to be a very happy man every time he saw me. Kwanza aliona amepata mkamba. Ananiambia he has a plantation, ako na 100 acres of coffee and tea. Potential. Okay? Si hapo branding ilifanyika. So why are we letting Tanzanians beat us in branding tea and coffee? Na sisi ndio superpower. Okay? Since sawa, branding is very important. logistics, all these things tumeongea juu ya skilled workforce, hiyo nayo tumeongea. If you cannot export a 40-foot container of tea and coffee, you can teach English. Sindio? But you need to understand the Japanese language first. We're good? We're good? Yes, so don't constrain yourself on this one thing that that needs to be done. Very expensive, very tedious. The certifications are too many. So there are other ways that we can reach the market. So the recommendations, this goes to the to Kiproba, the government, and other. The words have disappeared. Yes, those ones. So about market access, all these things that we've talked about. So these policy recommendations that are already being worked on. And one way of working on these recommendations is us being here today as stakeholders. Sawa, as stakeholders, and also give feedback on what our fellow Kenyans are doing on the other side and what they are saying on the other side. Help us identify the challenges and then convert the challenges into opportunities. So the path forward for shared prosperity is that Japan offers significant opportunities for Kenya's exports, investment, tourism, among others. But then it requires deliberate, long-term, quality-driven strategy. Okay? And then comparative advantages that Kenya has an opportunity for premium positioning, sustainability, and all these others. So if they know us for our Masai Shukers, what can they know us about our dairy products? They can. Okay. So I have a question. So what does this survey mean to you? These findings? So what does all these things in Tumongea, what do they mean to you? Or what's your take-home message? Or do you relate with what we've just talked about? Can you relate to at least any of the things that we've talked about? Do you know the challenges that we face? Do you know the challenges? So do we know how to convert those challenges into opportunities? Isn't it? So when you need to be certified, those certifications that need to come from certain authorities, we need to get them. Okay? We're good? So for just to conclude that in Japan, tea is not just tea, but it's a culture that can distinguish between harvest seasons, as we've said, from the harvest, when that tea was harvested, or even when that coffee was harvested, from which region, at what time of the year. So they're very specific. Okay. They also do tea testing. So tunaendanga wine testing, or do we hear of wine testing? Wine testing. They also do tea testing. The way they swab that glass and they tell you, so this comes from, I don't know, a valley somewhere in Mexico, and it's done, it is roasted, not boiled, and all those things. They do the same with our coffee and tea. So the standards are high. And then we've talked about one of the other things is also value addition on, for example, fruits and nuts. And for example, peeling your nuts. Okay, instead of sending them whole, or do you know how difficult it is to crack a macadamia? Siningumo. Can you break it with your teeth? Imagine when in Gen Z, or you are below the age of 65, you can't crack it with your teeth, and then you're giving a 70-year-old macadamia nuts. What are they supposed to do with them? What can they do? They will not consume that product, isn't it? Because it is not user-friendly. Okay. I think I have covered everything, and I appreciate your time. I acknowledge your presence, and Yes, I'm going to give you an opportunity to ask questions. And just to say that there's something called validation in research, where someone else speaks to what you're speaking about. And I would like to give our colleague an opportunity to say hi and even speak to what I have just presented. Tumkaribishe kwa makofi.
Okay, thank you, thank you. We want to, maybe we can. So we want to just start by saying that you've seen the opportunity that the Japan market has to offer you. One of the key things that you can see from the research that was done is that consistency is very, very important. You know, my Gen Z, we work with Gen Zs in the office. So there was one Gen Z we had in the office. We used to know you're supposed to report to the office by 8. And then leaving time is by 5. So consistency yake ni kukuja 9. 3 o'clock, shapotea. So one day, because already the curve was showing some direction, akamua zikuji. I've decided I am not coming. But switch off simu, email ukienda. And it just brings a lot of information in the terms of the lack of consistency, even in us as individuals. That being said, as you've heard from the research, you need to be consistent. If you're going to get the market of Japan, number one, if you get business, what do you need to do? You need to ensure, ukiambiwa unapewa 1 ton, are you able to supply 1 ton every month? You have to be very consistent. In it comes to the issues of standards, there is no two ways about it. Standards they don't negotiate, okay? And that is one thing that sometimes we get it wrong. Because we want to, tunapenda sana shortcuts, and shortcuts are not really good. Once one Kenyan has lost trust in the market, wanasema ni kama ni wote. We call it interception. Kama imekuwa intercepted, waone product yako umesema una export Hass, but wanapata ni hii ingine. See, there are varieties of exports. Kuna Hass na Fuete. Munaitanga Fuete. So muna mix. You know, they look alike, but you'll know there's a difference. There's some sort of difference. So you need to be very consistent. When it comes to the standards, no negotiation, ensure that you meet the standards. There is the issues I think we saw here, the Pharmacy and Poisons Board, issues that you need to know. KEBS is also there on issues of standards. We have KEFIS when it comes to issues of our products, our horticultural products. We have DVS for issues of products for meat. So there's a lot of those standards that you need to comply. So all these offices are there to help you. Please ensure that you meet with them so that they can be able to help you to comply. As a Proba, we did that research, and now we've passed on the information to you so that you can now be able to make a decision about whether the Japan market is a market that you'd like to take your products. So for us, we are happy as Proba. We are hoping that you can actually take it up. There are quite a number of issues you've seen on the issues of branding. Just let's go back very quickly. Just go back on none of the, go back again. You've gone very far. But there was something on some of the recommendations somewhere there on branding. So in the afternoon, we're going to have a session on the Made in Kenya mark. Because a lot of you have your products, but you don't have that made in Kenya. So you'll be told the value of having that product. Why you should have it with you, the Made in Kenya mark. Now, to be able to go, it's already almost lunch hour, but if we can allow just a few minutes, we have a few Q&A for both the presenter that was here in the earlier, and then we have the consultant who's here. We can be able to raise 1 or 2 questions to both the presenters so that before we go for our lunch, and then we come back for that. Any questions? I can already see 1, 2 hands. Where are my colleagues to help us? You take the mic round. And please, let the question be very specific. This is the issue. Be very specific and straight to the point. Thank you.
So my question is, why are you focusing so much on macadamia rather than the other nuts? What's the advantage there?
Okay, that's a good question. Why are we focusing on macadamia? So that's one question. Any other question? I've seen another hand up behind there.
Hello.
Yes, we can hear you.
Personally, I feel that there's much work to do for the Kenya export promotional and branding, because there's very little that you have done as a country to be able to boost that. Why don't we come up with maybe, because now when you're talking of consistency, then it is good for us to have that education. So why don't we come up with a policy even in our curriculum that will be able to teach that, so that this information can be with us as we grow? Because as adults, we bring this thing of branding when we are already old. It creates a gap between us and the youth. So why don't this thing be put into the curriculum as young as possible, so that we can compete as a country? Because it is between death and life, wherever we have reached now, when it comes to now competing with the whole world. Please, you guys are not doing much information. You're not disseminating enough information in the ground to get this information to us. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I think I like that recommendation. It's actually more of a recommendation that we can do more, and even as much as maybe even recommend to have that aspect of standards in the curriculum. So that's a recommendation. My colleague Paris later, she'll just do, there's a slide that she has on some of the programs that we are doing, which she will present just on some of the programs that we have that you can actually take advantage of within the product development cycle. So we'll do that in the afternoon. It's a very short, like one slide or two, not more, shouldn't take long. But thank you for that recommendation. Another question, another hand?
Hello.
Yes.
It's Arnold again from Kias Produce. I was just anxious to ask about the expenses of maybe getting the brand, and also which criteria do you use to give the brand?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. For that one, immediately we come out from lunch, we'll have a presentation about the Made in Kenya mark that we actually have, and you'll get to know whether we charge or it's free or there's some cost implications. You'll be able to know, okay?
Okay.
And what programs maybe we can, as my sister will answer later, that we can be able to give you support.
Also, lastly,
yes,
I wanted to know how these small scale, maybe farmers or manufacturers, how are they going to be helped maybe to acquire that?
Okay. We as you've said, we'll have one. However, I know there's Msea here in the office. They have here. Msea, where are you? We have representation from Msea. They had actually asked, where are you, Msea? Okay, I was made aware that Msea is around, and actually they had requested for just a 5 minutes to be able to just speak about what they do and how they assist, but also we'll also talk about what Keproba does later in terms of the Made in Kenya mark and how we can assist. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, my question is, why are we focusing on Japan only?
Very interesting question. Mr. Peterson will answer that, why we will focus just on Japan.
Good afternoon.
Yes.
My name is Redwig, and I'm a poultry farmer. And I haven't heard anything about exporting poultry. We have just recently opened our poultry farm here in Wazingishu. We are at Bahati, Kimumu, and we would like to export our poultry meat to Japan. So is there any opportunity for us exporting the poultry? Thank you.
Why? Let me answer one question that why Japan and your meat and the meat, the poultry meat, as we stand here today, it's not possible for you to export any type of meat to Japan at all, because of the regulations that they put in place. Actually, this is June. In March, we wanted to go to Japan on one of their exhibitions called Food Dex Japan. It's like anything food in Japan. And the Japanese told us, please don't bring anything meat because of the regulations. They are very, very stringent. They think nyama yetu it cannot meet the standards, and so it's a no-go zone. Don't even think about that. Can we do it here? Sell it to Uganda, Tanzania, Africa first. Africa first. Hata hapa kwetu tuuzie hiyo nyama. Hata saa hii tulete tukule lunch huku. We'll pay for it. And why we did Japan was you know, last year we had a global event there, and there were a lot of concerns that it looks like there is a lot of demand for Kenyan products. But we needed to understand how the Japanese market operates. And so we went in to find out the very aspects that will identify the opportunities and how can you walk to that market with your product. And this is what we presented here. That from time to time, we'll continue to get information about markets. It's like you want to go to Kazakhstan, for instance. So you've had a president went to Kazakhstan. But what else do you know about Kazakhstan? We want information about Kazakhstan, the population, the tests, the preferences, the regulations. Then from there, you can decide from the opportunities identified, I think I can export this and that. So you need information. Anybody who has information is already ahead of you. Whoever has information, ask exporters. If they have information, you'll be doing catch up. The information is everything. With information, you can decide to craft your entry strategies, marketing strategies in a manner that will enable you to exploit the opportunities that have been identified in any other market. With the information is power. It will enable you to make decisions that can support you to move from one point to the another. Like today, if somebody told you, yo, nyama ya poultry inahitajika Kisii, ukiambiwa, if you are in that sector, si utaanza kuuliza, okay, huko Kisii nitauzia nani? Hoteli, school, wapi, kanisa, si ndio? So with that information, your antenna is already up. Can we go? How are they buying? Because it's not just a matter of going. How are they buying? Kuku mzima inauzwaje? Quarter inauzwaje? So that you work backwards. Tunaenda na nani? Kuna magari hapa inapeleka refrigeration facilities so that they can arrive there in good state. So that is what we are saying, that you need information. But if you are thinking of export, information is key and it's necessary because it will enable you, equip you, prepare you, ready for that journey. Okay.
Okay.
One last question before we break for lunch. Mzee aliuliza alinua kwanza.
We have a few questions. I know there are two there. So maybe we can add 2 more questions and we let the consultant answer. Then we can progress.
My question is, I wanted to ask about, because of here you have been talking about macadamians and whatever. How about this manufacturing on handicrafts? Because we do handicrafts and we don't have the market outside market. So when we're requesting if we can get one of them from China, Japan.
Okay, there's a question on handicrafts.
As I walk back,
Okay.
that in Japan, when we were there last year, we promoted a number of our handcrafts. You know, the handcrafts sector is wide, about 16 sub-products. The soapstone, the beadwork, the basketry, all that, jewelry, all that is all in there. So mzee ulikuwa utuambie in the handcraft ni kitu gani nasema hiyo handcraft kitu gani which one, which product are you promoting? No, the question is here. I'm coming here. Tell us which products. And Japan, because it doesn't have, all handcrafts don't have, most of them don't have market requirements. It's how they are made and with the finish, very precise and with the intention to make it work and be sold. If your product is good, it can start being sold even from here. Anybody seeing it, chap inaenda. So don't about the market. What product in that sector are you promoting? Do you have that you want to sell? And you know, we are going to lunch. You are standing between yourself and lunch. Ask one or two questions when we move on. My friend, I can see you.
I came prepared. My name is Smith and Stone. I'm the chairperson for Capsite Constituency Juakali Association. My first question is that what are these certifications requirements that these markets really demand, so that we start with that process? Probably we get to be clear about it. Number two, does Japan need these ones? So that you said I have it with me. I carried it with me here. These are my beautiful products. You can all have a look at it. So if before we go to Japan, as the professor have suggested, we can start by importing it to your pocket and to your houses. Yes. Thank you very much as you answer that question.
Yeah, no, the only certification you need is ethical sourcing and sustainability. Here for soapstone, nothing much. It's how does it look? Is it okay? Is it good? Then that's it. What you should be asking, what price are they buying at over there? Then you work and see whether you make business. My sister, you are the last one.
Good afternoon. I wanted to ask the team from Cape Romba if currently there is they have a list of specific products that have the highest potential for export outside there, or are they listed anywhere so that before you go producing, you know if there is an external market? Maybe for the benefit of all of us who are seated here. Asante.
I can see the consultant has stood to present. Keep those questions. We'll answer a number of them in the afternoon, because this is still our session. So we don't want your food to get cold. You can see our Gen Z hapo. Ataanza kulia. So over to you.
Thanks for the questions. And the last question, in fact, marking scheme iko kwa blackboard. Si blackboard tena, yenye tulifundishwa na blackboard na chokaa. Iko kwa slide. Market opportunities. High potential products, ndio hizo avocado, coffee, specialty tea, macadamia nuts. You see, all this, coffee, tea, high potential. With this, you can't go wrong. Followed by medium potential, we have mangoes, French beans, textiles, essential oils, English teaching services. Then the ones with the lowest potential are bulk pineapples because they are price sensitive, meat and dairy products, as that has already been explained, and then raw hides and general IT sourcing. So your answer is already here. Then there was a question on why macadamia nuts? Why, sorry, you don't have a name tag I would have addressed to you, but meanwhile, it's because they value macadamia as a niche market. So it means that it's a healthy snack. So they like it because of healthy benefits as a snack. And it's because also of the taste. Okay. And the sauce. Remember, we're saying that they can trace where a product comes from. Okay. Up to even the type of soil that product was planted or where it was grown, the pesticides and everything in between. So from their market, they value macadamia nuts above all others, and because of the taste. And also something else about the quality of the macadamia. Remember, I even asked if it's possible for any of you to crack. It's difficult, but because it's already processed and it's already, the shell has already been removed, it becomes easy for them to consume it, and it's also very nutritious. One among the reasons, and it is also met the market specifications in that it's available in the quantities and the quality that they require. So that becomes very premium. And all those things that I've just talked about macadamia, sorry, because they come from Kenya. Any other person producing macadamia cannot beat us at that game. So it's an opportunity for us. I think those were the two questions that required my attention. Yeah, the rest have already been responded to. So thank you and thanks for your time. Bwana Director has already said that you are sitting between yourself and lunch. And as we go, I have one last question. So why did brand Kenya cross the global market? Why did brand Kenya cross the global market?
As you think about that, let me answer a question that was asked by my sister over there. Okay. Every year, the agency identifies markets where we need to promote our goods and services. And we have a calendar, which we call the Kenya Export Promotion, the Kenya Export Development and Promotion Program for each year. So we identify market and the potential products that need to be sold in that market. So if you go to our website today, you'll see that program. So because every country, like you cannot, unaweza uza miwa hapa Tanzania ama Uganda? Unlikely, because they also do the same. They have the same product. So you can sell something different, which they don't have, or which they are importing from far countries. So in that program, we specify, and we also specify who is coordinating Kenya's participation in that event. So kindly get into our program, our website, makeitkenya.go.ke, and you'll get more information about that so that it can inform you where in this year, where we are going and for with which products and who is coordinating. There are those that the agency is coordinating, there are others that the director is coordinating, there are others where horticulture crops director is coordinating. So collectively, we want to take you to the international market. So you can now answer the consultant.
Did you get my question? So what's the answer? Now, I think prefect na monitor wanafaa kufutwa kazi. They're supposed to be collecting the exercise books and bringing them to me for marking. Eh? Yes.
The answer is to attract investors plus FDI. 2, to boost export and tourism. To create jobs for Kenyans. To compete with other counties. Number 5 is diaspora plus pride angels.
She has tried, isn't it? Amejaribu. But my answer is completely different. Tunajua brand Kenya ni nini? Brand Kenya, brand Kenya. Tunajua ni nini? Marketing our country. Okay? So if you are marketing our country, then it means, so the answer to my question is, brand Kenya traveled globally or was in the global arena to show that the brand is made in Kenya. Simple. Okay? It's even simpler than ile why the chicken crossed the road. Okay? So brand Kenya was in the global scene to show that it is made in Kenya. So we said we are even selling managu in Japan, but wanafikiri inatoka Uganda, but ni yetu. Because they do not know that it is made in Kenya. Si tuko pamoja? Nimeshukuru sana kwa wakati wenu. And tutaendelea kuonana. And you're taking over. Okay, thank you and good afternoon.
Makofi kwa kwanza. 1, 2, 3. 10. Thank you. Now you've earned your lunch. Lunch is served here. The Gen Zs in the room, we ask you to go to ground floor. There's also another serving point there. This can only accommodate 80. So the rest of us, we go downstairs. Sawa. Lakini before we do, ngoja, before we do, Brenda will pray for you for the lunch. How many Brendas do we have in the room? Brenda, anybody called Brenda here? Kwani na wapo kwa sababu unatakiwa kuomba? Haya. Kuna mmoja najua.
Okay, let us pray. Father, in the mighty name of Jesus, we thank you, Father, for the far that you brought us. We thank you for the discussions that we've had, the presentations. We pray, Lord, that you may help us to internalize and to take action, oh Lord, going forward. As we go for lunch, may you bless it. In Jesus' name I pray.
So, karibu lunch here for 25 minutes. 25 minutes.